So I was talking about the industrialization. You see, the impact of these five processes, of course, we have discussed that in detail in previous sessions. We have to also understand that Industry 4 has a major implications towards our development, which has that is why Industry 5 came so faster. What all has been covered in Industry 4 is critical to understand. First, the focus of connecting machine was the basics of the Industry 4, which puts us on a elevated pace where the focus on delivery customer experience in Industry 5 became the key aspect of discussion. When we talk about the mass customization, created a euphoria about hyper customization where we are seeing Industry 5 is taken it's in due course in time. Intelligent supply chain, now we have a responsive distributed supply chain. Why we are talking about the smart product, we have experience activated or inactive products. If you look into the manpower distance from the factory, now returning on manpower to the factory is the key concept which we are talking on daily basis. So this was the impact of industrialization of creating a broken economic system where we need to see that our sustainability efforts are able to protect those development which we have developed over the 300 years of time. Now, who is the culprit? Why we are in a situation where climate is in focus? Hurricanes, tsunami, earthquakes, forest fire has become a common word, including global boiling. And the reason lies in this particular area, which is a fossil fuel. We need to understand historically, this particular graph shows over a period of time since 1980 how China, United States of America, and other nations together were focused on producing the fossil fuel, specifically coal, which has created the scenario which we are in today. Of course, China holds the top spot as the world's largest fossil fuel producer, along with during previous decade, China has used more coal than rest of the world. Yeah, and that's why you see there is a bulging out here in the middle. Energy was already a hot topic before 2022, but soaring household energy bills and cost of living crisis has brought it even more to the forefront. A breakdown of global energy production showing which country have used the most fossil fuels, nuclear and renewable energy since 1980. If you look into the renewable is taking its own space, and recently it has accelerated its effort, and not only by the developed nation, even the developing nations are taking forefront, where India has taken a center stage, along with China, who has converted most of their operations toward renewable energy. Renewable energy sources include wind, hydro, and solar accounts for now 23% of the total electricity production happening worldwide in 2023 and 4. The China leads the front of renewable production, being having a cheapest resources available at their end, along with the mass manufacturing. China leads renewable production while the US comes at the second place in today's time. While the renewable energy production has ramped up in recent years, more countries will need to ramp up their renewable energy production in order to reach to net zero targets by 2050. Okay, in 2013, we have seen China taking the largest space, even US, even though it was a second, but it took the hardly half of the China, what China used to produce in the renewable energy terms, which is recently had shifted to different direction as well. Now, what I am trying to show with this graph is renewable energy sources, including wind, hydro, and solar, which is on every year on year has been analyzed since 2017, shows that the utility solar and distributed solar has covered the maximum space in this. Yeah, along with the onshore wind, which has picked up in recent times too. In 2023, specifically, 1/3 of renewable energy comes from the utility solar and distributed solar. If I combine it two, it goes beyond 50% of the total renewable production. Yeah, so we need to see how this progress, and this is the graph which shows the net electricity capacity addition which has happened over a period of by technology in gigawatts per hour. So these are the energy installation which has surged over a period of time, and now set to surge furthermore at accelerated speed in coming future. Just see the example of 2020, 2021, and 2022, compare with 2023, which has taken a major jump, and this jump will continue to have in future too. So, though the grand gases, however, our initiative in renewable is taking at a speed or expected to grow at a speed which we want, but the greenhouse gas at the same time also increasing its speed and pace. Maximum of greenhouse gas comes from carbon dioxide side, even though in percentage term they are the lowest ones. Yeah, 10 primaries GHG are water vapor, which is H2O, then carbon dioxide, which is CO2, methane, CH4, nitrous oxide, N2O. Perfluorocarbon, which is CF6 and C2F6, hydrofluorocarbons, which CHF3, CF3, CH2F, CH3, CHF2, and sulfura hexafluoride, which is SF6. These are the major greenhouse gases which are impacting our world. Where from they are produced? You see, transportation, electric power controls 66% or 62% of the whole fuel, 64% of the whole fuel consumption and emission of the GHG. So GHG maximum comes from these two sides, along with the industry, which controls the 16%. Residential and other non-fossil fuel combustion emits the carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases is to the extent of 8%. Yeah, and thereby focusing on transportation and electric power will give us the maximum result where whole world is focusing right now. Clear? And the emission also has grown, which we know now, CO2, which has been recorded recently, shows that by March 2023, per billion particle, it has crossed already 421 ppm in the atmospheric air. And it has grown from 330 of 95 to this level. So the speed is accelerating on this front, which is quite critical, and we need to understand that and make sure that we control it in proper way. Yeah, so atmospheric CO2 emission has increased phenomenally, which has crossed a threshold of 350, which is a area where people can breathe properly. Who doesn't know that who are the major CO2 contribution? Of course, the major is Saudi Arabia, even though their population is lowest, their per capita per person emission is highest in the world, which is around 16 tons CO2 per year. If you compare that to US, Russia, Iran, India is nowhere. India is the lowest, yeah, even below the average by 2 times. Okay, so area of rectangle shows the total emission overall. Let's focus on the solution, which is sustainability. Sustainability is facing current and future global challenges, yeah, which includes the area of because we are focusing on profitability, planet, and focus, we may go towards a better world. Sustainability is facing not only those related to environment issues, yeah, but the 3P, which is people, planet, and profit or prosperity, we say, is also critical for us to go forward with. What are the 5 principles of sustainable development which are available to our disposal? You see, conservation of ecosystem or environment, which is the living within the environment leading, is the first of the 5 principles of sustainable development. So there are 3 P's, which is a core of solution, sustainability solution, which is people, planet, and profit. All these 3 need to be considered, and that's why economics, environment, and social, we say. Now, 5 principles are behind it. So 3 P's, and then on bottom of it is the 5 principle, which starts with conservation of ecosystem or environment, which is living within the environmental limits. Don't cross it. Yeah, if you cross, you have the danger which we are seeing today. And that is why conserving the ecosystem is critical here. That's the principle number 1. Principle number 2 is achieving an economy which is sustainable. So conserving the biodiversity of the planet is key here as a second major principle. The third major principle is promoting the good governance or conserving sustainable development of society is also important. Using sound science and responsibly is a critical aspect, which also we say is population control and management is critical part of the same. Ensuring a strong, healthy, and just society, which link also to the sustainable development of the society, or we say conservation of human resources, a key part and principle of the sustainable development. You see, three P's, which has a five pillars, five principles, has nine pillars to support it. So you have a triangular arrangement which is supported by nine pillars, which is our logo, if you see. Yeah, which indicates that the nine pillar of sustainability starts with the waste management. So if you are doing waste management properly, you are doing a better judgment. Second is the water management, because this is the most scarce resource in today's world. Then comes the alternative energy propagation, which we are trying our level best to achieve the same. Agriculture and food security is another critical pillar of the sustainability along with public art and design. We should not ignore that part of the world as well. Civic engagement, green building design, green spaces, and transportation is last four parts, which are also critically important and becomes a pillar of sustainability. Where the three P's lies on the top, you have a five principle which supports that three P's. Along with you have nine pillars of the sustainability which supports that structure, and then only you can have a sustainable environment. Yeah, if you see if you have focused the radial graph, I have shown that what are the achievements in particular area. So any report which happens on the country level or the industry level, you need to judge them on these matrices. So this radial graphs had several matrices, and based on their ranking of that particular industry, company, or country, you rank them. Ecological is the most suffered aspect right now, as we see in the world. Yeah, along with the best we are able to maintain as a sustainable idea is culture, where we are ranking at 83%. Yeah, compared to that, to politics, economics, and ecology suffer the worst, where we have only 44%. So what are the present global scenario where sustainability takes the center stage, and we need to focus on that to maintain it properly? First is the poverty, second is corruption, third is violence, fourth is food shortage. These are the list of global scenario which we need to take care of it to make a sustainable society all along. And this is these 26 list of 26 which in front of you now is critical for us to going forward, where the sustainability can and should focus to develop a new world order. Yeah, otherwise atmospheric gases already has crossed its limit. Over 800,000 years of analysis has produced a report, yeah, by climate at nasa.gov in USA. They produced this report that climate always adjusted and came to a normal level, where you see the graph has gone up on the temperature side, carbon dioxide availability in the atmosphere, and then it came through. This is the analysis has reflected that we never cross a threshold of 350 or 300. Recently, we have done that, which is a 90-50 level, which we have crossed, and current level is much exceeding that, which creates a issue to the planet Earth itself. Historically, if you only analyze from 1959 to 2021 data, you will understand that historic average carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere is not relenting now. It's going up and up only. Yeah. So atmospheric gas by volume, dry air in the Earth atmosphere is about 78.08%. So let's understand that also very clearly, that carbon dioxide is not a major item in the atmosphere. And that's why there are memes available where from a very renowned environmentalist and head of an institution has been asked by a senator that tell us you are focusing on carbon, 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 but how much of the percent of carbon holds in the total atmosphere? And the person was dumbstruck by this question. First of all, she was not expecting this question. Second of all, she was really got clueless the way senator aggressively asked that how to now prove to him, because the carbon, the traces of gas accounts hardly 0.04%. Yeah. And then why so much of hue and cry about it? She could not answer that. And that's the meme available on Instagram, WhatsApp University, etc. Yeah, but the point here is that even though the carbon percentage availability in atmosphere is minuscule, but it is the heat trapping agent which is creating a global warming or boiling condition on the earth, and that's why that culprit need to be addressed first, which includes all greenhouses gases in that 0.04%. It's a brew of test gas accounts for the other, yeah, which includes the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, and chlorofluorous gases. ISO 15859-13 2004 specifies these limits and composition of breathing air. Yeah. And the test, the requirement applicable for verification of breathing air compositions are lying there. If you want, you can refer it to know how much is the breathing air levels. Oxygen content is prescribed to be 19.5% to 23.5% hydrocarbon condensed form, which contains the 5 milligram per cubic meter of the air or less. And carbon dioxide, monoxide, contain 10 part per million or less, while carbon dioxide is 1000 part or less, which is 4021 we just saw. And as per the medical health experts, by the way, breathing daily air is equivalent to 33 smoking 33 cigarettes in a day. Yeah, that kind of toxic air we have in our country, specifically the capital city, Delhi. The air pollution caused estimated 54,000 premature death only in 2020, along with the COVID. Yeah, so COVID was nowhere near to what disaster we are already facing. Yeah, little has improved since then. Lung ailment, along with COVID trauma, the pollution has given asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD) to more people than the COVID itself. Yeah, and this is still on rise, and as the winter will approaches in Delhi, who doesn't know what happens there? Delhi bad air is making headlines again and again and again. So that's the problem with atmospheric gases, which we need to control on. And thereafter comes the global installed capacity, which highlights this fact that electricity production, we are still highly dependent on fossil fuel. And this is a statistic all across the world, not only to the India. Yeah, where the fossil fuel is still in focus with 4,436.42 gigawatts are produced through the coal and fossil fuel, which include oil. Renewables are hardly 3,000, which is around 50% or 40% lesser than that. Hydroelectricity, 1,000, solar. And this statistic establishes the fact that gigawatt, which is emitted through the fossil fuel, is more than, of course, the renewable and nuclear together in gigawatts term. So how to make a better society? So before we end today, I wanted to end it with showing you a sustainable supply chain strategy, which you can take back from today's session. Of course, we have talked about a lot of other things. I'm just going to give you an idea how you can green a supply chain in a critical industry. For example, we are talking about crib manufacturing industry, which is dependent on wood. Wood being a very precious natural resource. Now, in the condition of when we are talking about greening the world, a crib is always made from that, at least for the purpose of kid being safe in that environment. So how you can green their supply chain where the manufacturing item is depleting the resources. So in building a child crib, manufacturer must focus on every step of the process in order to optimize the scenario to make that particular manufacturing plant greener. Yeah, from used tree, transportation and ease of recycling should be their focus. So increasing efficiency and decreasing waste should be their first start point, where you need to look into ethical sourcing. So trees, you can start with blockchain technology, where you can start tagging the trees where you are cutting. So you know, and you are accountable for how many crib you made from that particular tree and how you are replenishing it. So first you need to be aware that how much you are using it. Yeah. So logging these kind of practices protect the community, air, water, and mindful habitat, because you know what you are cutting. Then comes, and you need to make sure that you are not unnecessary cutting or using illegal means to procure this wood, which that will impact further cutting of the trees in different area where the control is less. Yeah. Then goes to the manufacturing side, where the supply chain sustainability is embedded. Yeah. And by the way, supply chain sustainability is embedded in ESG corporate governance consideration as well. Like we just saw, ethical sourcing is a part of corporate governance. Yeah. Where the raw material are sourced, converted into product and delivered to the market has been observed properly. And if it is done properly, you have a product which is ESG compliant or ESG conscious. So you need to create a cascading sustainable practices that flow smoothly throughout the supply chain. And that is why once you come to manufacturing, yeah, you need to focus that parts that are milled, yeah, to a specification. Like you have a wood log and you mill it to make it in particular specification. That environment where the milling is happening, the workers are safe, consumers and environment around it is also safe. So how you are mitigating those dust particles, how you are deploying different scenarios that it doesn't impact the environment too. Yeah. The fourth part is the packaging. Packaging creates a lot of waste material as well as it consumes plastic and cardboard. So crib assembled and packaged in boxes made from the post-consumer recycled material should be preferred in this area to make it greener. Then comes the transportation, which consumes big part of this supply chain, where the trucks are the cleanest technology need to be utilized as much as possible. Yeah, which will reduce the idling time. I know you must have seen another Instagram or YouTube video where the car has been equipped with a plastic, which is idling car, yeah, which is just has a switched on engine, has created a huge, big plastic bag behind it because the gas which it emits, the car emits. That's why reducing the ideal time also can make the supply chain greener. The travel, the most direct route is another route management is another area where company can focus to make it more greener. Finally, the point of sale, the information for consumer includes place of origin, chemical used and in manufacturing need to be displayed properly at the time where the sale is happening, at the point of sale we are talking about here. Yeah, so the people are able to know what they are buying for and how much chemical that product is carrying. With this, you need to also understood that when the consumer uses it, crib is easily assembled, right? It can be, you need to make sure that it gets easily assembled. It doesn't create a lot of other waste material or scenarios. Yeah, and also the packaging is a curbside recyclable. So whatever packaging you have used, that should be recycled easily. It should not take 1,000 years to degrade. Means it should not be plastic oriented. Finally, make sure that you distribute this particular crib to other people as well so they can reuse it. Yeah, I'm not here promoting that you should have two kids to consume your crib again. Rather, I'm suggesting here that crib should be utilized twice. Yeah, you give it to charity organization, etc. Rather, it's passed through family and friends even so that this is consumed over a period of time, not just for your own kid. And then the end of life, when the no longer useful is a crib, that should be recyclable. Parts are recycled. It's not thrown out or broken and given to the out. So with this, our example finishes. Now let me just cover a supply chain a little better. What are the principles available and how a sustainability can be included? So sustainable supply chain relies on these four particular parts: people, process, system, and execution. These are the four pillars of supply chain which you want to make it sustainable. So let's talk about the process first. In process, you start with a design which is environmental friendly and sustainable. Yeah, it doesn't require a lot of material which are rare on earth. So the design part itself need to be properly done if you want to really create a sustainable supply chain, like routing, etc. Then comes the source. What are your raw material source? What are your ancillary source? Then you look into plan, make, deliver, and sustain. This is the six-step process which you need to adopt to create a sustainable supply chain. Then there are 7 R's of logistic which we need to take care of it. It starts with the right product, then right quantity, right condition, right place, right time, right customer, and right price. These are the 7 R's which we need to deploy to create a logistic system which can remain which can remain sustainable for a long period of time. With this, I come to end of our discussion. There is a survey. If you can answer this survey, it will help us to create a customized program for you for tomorrow. Anyway, we have a standard program which we will deliver, but if you have any specific issue, we can identify through this survey. Please answer this survey and let me know in the chat box. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe and like our channel, and also give a comment below this video so we know what we need to focus in the next lecture or the next 3-day program. Thank you very much for your support and being a kind listener. I appreciate that fully. Pleasure, and bye-bye.